A very good morning to all our listeners outside there. Welcome to another edition of Acfim Talks, where we are looking at the Bukimbiri County MP election that took place, that was held yesterday. I'm going to be joined by a couple of guests from Bukimbiri itself, and we are going to be discussing a lot more about what transpired in Bukimbiri. So before I start, I would like all our other colleagues to also subscribe to our social media platforms. That is Acfim Uganda, Acfim UG on YouTube, and then Acfim UG on Twitter, then Acfim UG on Facebook. My name is Abel Esero, and I'm going to be today's host. So before we proceed, I would like to give you an overview of what transpired or what made us choose this interesting area for our by-election, because there were two by-elections that were held yesterday. One was in Paris, that's at Gogonyo County, and then this other one also was at Chisoro District, that was at Bukimbiri County. It's official that the Electoral Commission declared Honorable Wizera Eddie Wagamhu as the winner of the Bukimbiri County MP elect. Kwizera, who was the flag bearer of the National Resistance Party, garnered a total of 12,214 votes, and second was the independent candidate, who was Turiagenda Asigario, who polled 10,105 votes. And then the Forum for the Democratic Change, who was the only opposition candidate in the race, that is candidate Owebe James, garnered only 208 votes. We know that the National Unity Platform candidate pulled out to leave for the FDC candidate to push on, because they thought that he had a lot of support. But as per the votes that we see right now, it clearly shows that the people of Bukimbiri County did not really fancy the FDC candidate. This by-election, just like those in Soroti, Omoro, and Kayunga, attracted various government leaders like the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, and other top NRM officials. The government leaders were observed again using state resources when campaigning for the NRM candidate. Vehicles with concealed number plates were also seen moving around during the campaigns and polling day. Of course, during the stakeholders meeting the Electoral Commission had with other members, the chairperson of the commission clearly said that he does not want to see anything like vehicles without number plates, and he urged the security officials to try and see that those vehicles that are moving around without number plates or with concealed number plates, because what happened in Bukimbiri, we saw number cars with whose number plates were, they applied something like oil and sand, so the number plates were covered. We could not clearly see them. So as the NRM campaign celebrates and the FDC counterparts cry for, Acfim takes this singular honor and privilege to reflect on what happened in the by-election, and the people to help us look at this are two gallant sons of the soil from Chigezi region. I will start with Mr. Mbereika Bernard, who is a human rights defender and also an active person in the politics of Chisoro, and that's inclusive of Bukimbiri County. And also we shall have Mr. Tumushime Emmanuel, who is a researcher and policy analyst and has worked with various civil society organizations across the country, and he's also well versed with what happens within the Chisoro district and also Bukimbiri County elections. Mr. Bernard, you're welcome. Bernard, do you get me? Are you getting me? Okay, as we wait I think there are network challenges that side of Chisoro. We want to continue with what some of us as who were also there for some few days looked at. And there were very many things. Of course, the campaign process went on very smoothly. It was very peaceful. Although there were some few cases where candidates collided on because of there are always there sort of has very few routes where candidates can go and move through to their areas of campaigns, the venues. So each time they would collide, there would be some chaos, but not so much violence. But they managed to address themselves and also engage and agree on, let's agree, let them move to wherever they are going, and we also move to where we are going. But there were also cases of course, money. Money played money was also seen in the by-election. Uh, in the seven sub-counties that were in Bukimbiri, through our sources, we're being told that almost each sub-county received money through from both the two leading candidates. So the two leading candidates left about not less than 2 million to each of the seven sub-counties. So we shall get more from our guests who are going to be who are joining us, but they have issues with their networks. But also, this election of Bukimbiri wasn't so violent, and the arrests were not so much like what was witnessed in Soroti City East election and also the election of Omoro. This was somehow peaceful. The candidates respected themselves, regardless of the two candidates coming from the same party. The two leading candidates came from the same party, but of course, one couldn't get the flag. The party decided to go with or the MP-elect, Honorable Kwizera Edi, and then they left out Turia Jenda Asigario, who was also part of the Nationalism Movement Party, but he did not get the flag. And during the stakeholders meeting, he raised that there are very many issues that were raised. For example, the vice chairman of the NRM in Chisoro district was complaining that why is Turiagenda Asigario using the NRM party colors, yet he is not an NRM candidate, he's an independent candidate. Of course, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission decided to clarify on that and said, you see, the commission, the candidate is free to use any of the colors they want, but only the symbols. They shouldn't use the symbols of a political party if they're independent candidates. They're symbols that independent candidates use. And also, there were issues around, of course, money and voter bribery. The commission also strongly warned the candidates against spending money and bribing voters on polling day and also uh, during campaigns, because they say they have received very many cases from the various by-elections they have conducted. That the issue of voter bribery comes out strongly, and the commission advised that all the candidates and their campaigning agents and also their teams to desist from using money during the election, because it's one of the things that is making our election look very ugly. But also there was the issue of violence. The commission strongly warned against candidates engaging in violence on polling day, because we have, through the by-elections we have seen, we witnessed that violence normally erupts on the eve to the polling day, because campaigns can go smoothly, but on the eve to polling day, just like we saw in Soroti City and also Moro, there would be arrests, and also on suspicion that maybe some of the members being arrested are in there because of have been arrested because of voter bribery, but also trying to disrupt or to make the election not move smoothly by disrupting some of the activities on polling day. So through that, the police told us that's why they were arresting some of the opposition polling agents and also their campaign teams. But they promised in Bukimbiri not to do so, and we are going to hear from some of these colleagues of ours who are going to join us. I know the network is still an issue that side, because we are also there, and the network of both internet is not so good that side of Chisoro, and Bukimbiri specifically. But we hope that very soon they will be able to join us. Uh, of course, as Ugandans are also undergoing these by-elections, our neighbors in Kenya also went to polls to elect their next fifth head of state. Of course, the IEBC has not yet finalized with tallying of results and declared, and that will, of course, feed into declaration of who will be the next president. But so far, Kenya has shown the entire African continent that election is not a do and die affair. It's a process whereby people can just come and share their ideas with the electorates without being intolerant. You will be able to share your ideas, campaign freely, no arrests of opponents, no tear gas, everything else that had like it happened somewhere. For example, whatever happened in Uganda in the 2021 election was so glaring that there was too much chaos and violence in our election. And when we compare the two so far, if you compare because of course an election is a process. So if you compare the campaign process in Kenya and the campaign process that happened in Uganda, of course Kenya did very well and people are appreciating what they did. And we pray that even after the results are declared in Kenya, people stay calm. They respect the decision by the IABC, which is constitutionally mandated to declare the winner. And if they so think that there are certain things that they are not happy with, we implore them as democratic lovers to seek justice from the courts of law, but not turn violent and cause mayhem in the country, just like we saw in 2007. So we want to appreciate all those Kenyans who up to now have stood strong and firm and loving their country, and they're not violent in whatever they. Okay, Bernard, you're welcome. You're welcome back. I think now the network that side is okay with you. I don't know whether you can hear me. Bernard, can you
Thank
hear
you,
me?
Abel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm
So,
hearing you. Can you hear me?
yes, I do
Yeah,
hear
sorry,
you.
we have network problems all over Kisoro. I think you around. Yes.
Yes, I did witness the network in Chisoro,
You
internet
are hearing
network is
me?
so poor.
Yes.
So I will start with you, Bernard. I will, you, from your view of point, how would you sum up the Bukimbiri by-election in terms of what happened exactly, and was there the influence of money or state power in terms of the leaders who came from the government leaders who came from the central government and decided to camp that side of Bukimbiri? Did they have big influence on determining how the voters that side cast their vote?
I'm a human rights defender and a social worker. When you ask me such a question, I'd like to say there was nothing that happened was unexpected. Everything that happened, we expected those things to happen. When you check from the beginning, when they started the after nomination, uh, there were very many words that were spoken, especially by the party leaders. When you went to the constituency, some leaders said whether voters want or not, this election is going to be won by the flag bearer. So the outcome of yesterday's election uh, just speaks volumes. It confirms what the party leaders had promised. And when you check, you talk about the influence the party leaders. There were very many the RDCs. We had the almost like 80 RDCs. Then we had the MPs, then the ministers and everything. That alone, when you talk about the influence of money and these other issues, then money was flooding there because whatever they were doing, they were targeting the electorates because they wanted to at least appear the better. But when you go to the opponent, like Honorable Asgario, his camp was also not so weak as such, and they also had the money power. So both parties, the NRM and seeing two strong and the honorable Asgario to Judging. They were very the strong rivals. But the issue of money was seen because even yesterday you saw one of the Reverend fathers, his car was towed, and they alleged he was distributing money. Some other cases happened yesterday. We are following the events where some of the agents were arrested because they were seen around the polling station giving out money. So we cannot single out the issue of money in this election. And despite minus that, you saw all the vehicles that had come to the store. All of them were costing taxpayers money. When you check the RDCs, almost like 200 dignitaries were here just for one election. And they were passing through impassable roads that need funds to be worked on. But a lot of money has been spent on just one candidate, and this candidate whose influence may not be felt in parliament as such, but the community members are going to suffer at the expense of just one candidate. And me, myself, I was like, why did we have to return to this by election? If we had to spend all this money, yet the Bukimbiri, the Kisoro, Mugahinga, then the Bugindi road are pending, and then we are coming to an election where government is going to spend almost close to 5 billion just for one candidate, and these roads are in the poor conditions, yet they fetch a lot of money to the country. So I was like, why did we have to do this? Because they already knew the candidate would be so and so. So why did we have to run into this? Because if they started the campaigns promising that the flag bearer is going to win, why didn't they sort that one in court so that we do not have to go into wasting all these resources? Yet they are needed somewhere to improve service delivery so that the muntu wa wansi can do his businesses, can struggle alone when his commodities, the agricultural commodities, can access market. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. You've hinted on the
Abe,
issue of yes, I can hear you. You've hinted on the issue of the RDCs
Abe,
and also other government dignitaries camping in Bukimbiri County. And I would like you to elaborate more and also give us your own view and perception whether this these vehicles and also RDCs and also this we saw the vice president, the prime minister, and also the NRM chairman of Western Uganda, Honorable Chris Baryomusi, also camped there. Could this have had a factor into scaring the voters and maybe passing a message to them that if you don't vote for NRM candidate, you might face problems? Because if I look at the results for that the Electoral Commission declared yesterday, the NRM candidate got 214 votes, and then the independent candidate who's also an NRM leaning got 10,105 votes. So, do you think the appearance of these top government officials in Bukimbiri County had an influence in maybe playing a big factor in influencing how voters cast their ballot yesterday? Hello, Emma, are you getting me? I think we have lost Emma. I think he still has uh, the issue of the internet, but I wanted him to elaborate more on it because he's saying there were over 200 dignitaries, that is government officials, who had camping at Bukimbiri South, I mean Bukimbiri County, to try to canvass for votes for the NRM candidate. And all these people were using state resources in terms of fuel, vehicles, and also personnel, security personnel. And I wanted to understand from him what influence did this have in the electoral outcome? Because if I look at the results here that were declared by the electoral commission, it's that the margin is not so big because all the two candidates were in 10,000 votes. The one had 12,000, then the other one got 10,105. So it was the difference of about 2,000 votes. Of course, it's quite a big, it's quite a margin, but not so big. For example, if you look at the two leading candidates who are all from the same party, and they almost went head to head. And the issue of money, as I earlier hinted, of course, all of them, of course, had funding, but of course, always the biggest spender in Uganda elections, we have, as per the monitoring reports we have run as Acfim, always carries the day if that person also has state backing in terms of what the regime backing. Oftentimes they tend to win most of these by-elections. That's what we have seen in Omoro, we have seen in Kayunga, we have also seen in Soroti now, we have seen in Bugonyo, in Palisa, and we have also seen the side of Chisoro, that is at Bukimbiri County. Bukimbiri County MP by-election, which was held yesterday, and the NRM candidate, Honorable Kwizera Ediwa Gahungu, was declared by the Uganda Electoral Commission as the winner after him garnering 12,214 votes. And then his counterpart, who was an independent candidate but also NRM leaning, got that is Turiagde and Asigario pulled 10,105 votes. The only other party sponsored candidate, that was the Forum for the Democratic Change candidate, whereby James garnered 208 votes. So what does this mean for other political parties? Because we saw them recently come together and they decided to unite, and they said they want to move into these elections, by elections, as one force and campaign for their candidates. But we are seeing they pulled very low votes in Bukimbiri County, and we are trying to ask ourselves what happened. Of course, the National Unity Platform candidate pulled out to leave the FDC candidate proceed with the campaigns and also work together as one team. But of course, we got information from ground in Bukimbiri that the National Unity Platform candidate, who was told to withdraw from the list, but his party wasn't so happy with what the party did, and he decided to cross over to the National Resistance Movement because he thought that National Unity Platform had undermined him, and he wasn't given chance to canvass for votes, and also for the people to decide and see whether he's capable or not. So he wasn't happy with the party decision of him being forced to withdraw from the race. So some of the things that we now need to look at. Can the opposition alliance really work if candidates cannot be able to respect the party decisions, or even the parties themselves don't respect the decisions from the party? Of course, we saw the same scenario happen that side of Gogonyo, the National Unity Platform candidate whom had been nominated because the FDC did not front any candidate that side of Gogonyo in Palesa district. After some time, few days towards polling, we saw the National Unity Platform candidate write to its secretariat saying that party secretary saying that he can no longer be able to proceed with the campaigns because through the consultations he has had with his voters, the family, and also some of the cultural leaders that side of Paris that state. So he decided to throw the towel down and decided to withdraw from the race. And very many people have castigated this move, saying that why did he waste the party's time to give him the flag, and after some time decides to quit. Of course, those are some of the things that are likely to affect some of the plans the opposition has, because they think when they work together, they can be able to give a good competition to the NRM party, which is looking to be so dominant so far in all these by-elections, because it has won all the the seats that are available, MP seats that have been available, that have been conducted so far. And we want to know, why is it that opposition is failing to get support and win these seats? Is it money? Is it state influence? Is it are there any other factors that are trying to hinder them from coming together and win? And what can they do? And what can also government do to improve our electoral process? Because there are some glaring issues that we have discovered in all these by-elections which need to be worked upon, because we cannot continue having elections which are not having standards that are accepted in terms of being free, fair, and also transparent. Because cases of vehicles without number plates continue, or with removed number plates or concealed number plates, have still continued to be seen in all these by-elections. The issue of money still is a big factor, which is also being raised in, and which is also still influencing most of the electoral outcomes in all these by-elections. But also the issue of security. Still, we witnessed security was overly deployed that side of Bukimbiri. Of course, there were some people whom we engaged with, asking them, why do we have all these security officials this side? Of course, they were telling us that, Kisoro district borders to is a border to two countries. So that is Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo. So whenever there is an election, they anticipate that chaos can easily happen. So they want to make sure that they deploy wherever, so that people feel safe and they are protected, and nothing like clashes of violence happens. But of course, also this has another impact, another effect on the turnout of voters. Of course, you find that whenever there is over deployment, voters tend to be scared, because some of them are not used to seeing too many security officials within their area. So once they see a lot of security officials being deployed, they tend to be scared, and they tend not to be able to come and cast their vote. And of course, this has an impact, because if you look at the difference between the two candidates, if so happens that maybe other voters did not turn out because they were scared, maybe you never know, maybe they were the voters that belong to the second candidate who got 10,105 votes, or it could even be maybe the members of voters of the Forum for Democratic Change candidate who only got 208 votes. So we need to have a discussion on how can we reduce or on the number of security officers whom we deploy in elections, but also the issue of money. How can we make sure that money does not become a dominant factor in determining our electoral outcomes? Do we need laws right now? Do we need to come up with campaign finance laws that are lacking in our country? I think that's the best idea we should go for. We need to start discussing and having discussion on how can we regulate money in politics. But also, there is an issue which has continued coming up through the by-elections, and that is the misuse of state resources, both the personnel and also the vehicles, but also the allegations that some of these government officials are using state finances uh, to campaign for their candidates. So I do think and believe that we can be able to think of what to be done to ensure that our elections are held in a free, fair, and transparent manner, without having deficits that make it look a very ugly election process. Of course, the members of the Electoral Commission are also complaining that they have gotten a lot of complaints from the stakeholders that engage in electoral process, that is both the politicians, civil society, and also voters themselves. And they are also having their own uh, in-house investigation to find out some of the things that have complaints that they have received through their complaint desk. Did they really happen? If they happened, how can they work with other relevant stakeholders within government to ensure that these things that are making our elections look very ugly stop, so that we can have a free, fair, and transparent process moving forward? I think our colleagues are still having internet challenges, so I would like to apologize for not having them today, not being in position to have them logged in because of our poor service in terms of internet connectivity that side of Chisoro district. But I would like to appeal to all of you that we shall have this discussion continue, but also we shall have some of the findings we got from some of these members we're going to host today, published in our weekly newsletter that is Secrets Known. So you can wait for what will come out on Secrets Known that will be published on Monday. Some of the things that happened in Bukimbiri will be in that news edition of Secrets Known. So I want to thank all of you, but please let's continue engaging on our social media platforms. Acfim UG on YouTube, Acfim UG on Twitter, and then Acfim on Facebook. It has been a pleasure having all of you, and I still do apologize for us not being in position to have all our guests tuned in because of the poor internet. But I promise you that next time we shall have a better plan and improve on how we shall have our guests tuned in so that we can have a very good and candid conversation on some of the things in elections in Uganda. Of course, the next election by election is going to be in Kasese district, and Acfim will also be on ground to try to find out what is happening. Are we improving on some of the things which happened in the other by elections, or we have not learned from anything? Are we learning new things? Can we help? Can we be able to improve on our elections like what we have seen in Kenya, a very smooth and peaceful process? And can we pick something from that? I think we need to have such discussions so that we can see how can we improve on our elections. My name has been Abel Esero, so I would like to end here for today, and I want to bless. I want to wish you all a blessed week and weekend